Welcome to our Parenting Journey webinar today. Our topic is group retention. Please stay. And it's presented today by Andrell Jean-Charles and Dolores Reyes. Welcome.
Thank you, Lee.
Thank you, Lee.
So, like Lee kindly said, my name is Andrell Jean-Charles, and I am the Manager of Trainings here at Parenting Journey, and I'm accompanied here by my lovely colleague. I'll let you.
Dolores Reyes, and I am the Senior Trainer and Facilitator for Parenting Journey.
Thank you so very much for coming and taking this time to partake in this webinar. We definitely think it's a topic of great importance as we look to facilitate and run groups in the various agencies that you are all joining us from. So I'm going to go over the agenda as we love to do here at the Parenting Journey. So we've just done the welcome and introductions. We are about to go over the learning objectives. Then we're going to go over group retention and discuss why group members leave the group. Then we're going to address strategies that can help us, that we can implement to keep members engaged in the group sessions. And we're going to touch on the question of when do we begin implementing these strategies and how we do this. And then we're going to open the floor up for a series of questions. So as we said, if you do have questions, please feel free to type in. We want to be able to address all the questions that may be in the room right now.
Okay, my name is Dolores Reyes again, and I'm going to go over the learning objectives. The first one is to develop an understanding of challenges associated with group retention. Those challenges can weigh from the person becoming late, coming into the group late, not being able to connect with other group members, and then stigma for a particular mental health or some disorder that that person may have. The second is to recognize different barriers that influence drop-off. Barriers such as weather conditions, mental health issues, child care, transportation, and such. Three is to explore strategies that can help improve retention, and that's what we are going to do today.
Beautiful. Thank you. So group retention. I think a lot of times when we prepare or set out to run a group, we think recruitment. Very important. We need to recruit those people to get them into the room. But once we get them into the room, how do we keep them there? I think sometimes, a lot of times, we may have good intentions coming into a group setting, but trying to address all the different obstacles and things that may come up that may affect our ability to stay on board is really crucial and is a big part of what the facilitator needs to do along with delivering the curriculum. So I'm going to touch on a couple of reasons why a participant may leave, and I'm going to look at it more from the person's vantage point. So one of the kind of situations that you may encounter are resistant participants. Those are people who may have been mandated by different agencies to attend a group. So we have people who are referred to us from DCF, from the courts, who may be asked to do a parenting group. So when it's a decision that has been made for you, sometimes that may create a desire not to be present and not to really engage in the process, and that can really be a big contribution to the person leaving the group. We also have people who may be uncomfortable participants, and those really speaks to personality traits. People who are shy, introverted, or reserved. So coming into a group setting where you have numerous people in a room and they're expected or asked to share on topics that may be very personal, that may be a challenge, and that may also be a huge reason as to why they decide to pull away and step out of the group session.
I'm going to continue with why group members leave. Marginalized participants. Participants dealing with mental health challenges, and those mental health challenges can be weaned out during your intake process or the referral process that is sent to you as the facilitator. Cognitive impairment, someone who doesn't quite understand what is really going on in the dialogue and also the message that is being sent to that person during group. They may have this impairment and not be on any medications or something to particularly help them to have strength to remain in the group. And then racial and cultural differences. We see that periodically here at Parenting Journey, where the racial and cultural differences appear. Someone may be able to speak Spanish fluent, but unable to speak English fluent, and there is a barrier there. Also, the color of skin sometimes reflects. Some people do not want to be in particular groups where there are people of color or of other races and ethnicities. Education. Some people are not particularly always educated to the level to receive the content that your particular curriculum may be disclosing or exposing to them. Some people may be overly educated for that particular group. Sexuality, meaning that someone may have problems with the person next to them, their sexual preferences, or in a relationship with someone else. Gender, transgender, male, female, young adults. The gender varies in many different degrees, and it's so important to make sure that your group matches. Your group, you have the same type of people in the group. Class differences. The experience in some of our groups that we have here at Parenting Journey, and you may see this experience also in your own groups, is that you can have people of color, people of financial class who feel as though they do not fit in. So that's one of the major things that we see here in our journey and in running our groups. Language, as I mentioned, language barriers with some people who speak different languages, in addition to some people who come from other cultures, such as in high-risk city areas or homelessness, or people who have been incarcerated, have a different dialogue and language than you would have someone who's generally in the community and speaks the same language. The disconnected participants who have trouble joining with the group for various reasons. Some people are very disconnected within themselves, and there could be a mental health issue or some emotional problem. There could be domestic violence going on in that particular person's life, and that's just an example where the person is totally disconnected if there are men in the group, or via that the man is being abused and there are women in the group.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Why group members leave? Life happens. Weather conditions, scheduling conflicts. Someone may have a dental appointment at the same time as your group, but the dental appointment is 6 weeks ahead of the first session, and that person totally forgets and all of a sudden remembers, I have a dental appointment. Scheduling conflicts. Commuting challenges. People sometimes do not have the financial means to commute back and forth to the group and bring in all their children if you are presenting child care. Commuting challenges also being that someone may be driving on the highway or through road traffic, and all of a sudden there is construction going on the road, or a car accident headed, the way that this person is driving to the group. Personal emergencies, God forbid, a car accident, or the child gets sick, or maybe someone misplaced their asthma pump and needs to go to the hospital because they're having an asthma attack. And then not a fit. Some people are not a fit for the particular group that you're running at that particular time. Sometimes we want to have numbers, and the numbers are not as powerful and conducive as having someone in the group that's a fit for the group. Mm-hmm. So be aware that sometimes it isn't that complicated.
Yeah. And I kind of want to just touch on the commuting challenges that you mentioned. A lot of times we are mindful when we do schedule groups, especially around the winter months.
Yes, we are.
In our parts here, I don't know how many people were present last winter, but we can experience heavy snowfalls, and that may cause us to have to cancel a series of group sessions, and it doesn't allow for group members to have this continuity of services that allows for the joining and bonding to happen. So it's that much more easier for that person to fall off because we've been kind of broken up because of weather conditions.
It is also wise and imperative to check the weather status in the community where you are hosting your group, because that will also give insight as to whether or not people will show up along with you making phone calls to connect with them and let them know that, you know, the group is still happening in spite of the weather.
Yes. Thank you. So, you know, we talked about the barriers. We've talked about the participants and what they may be incurring that affects their ability to stay on board. And then we've also talked about external barriers that may be influencing their ability to do something they may want to do. So short of having a temper tantrum here like this little child is and holding on to that person's leg for them to stay, we have to start considering strategies that will help us work on better retention. So we're looking at practicing communication, engagement, recognition, respect, and growth. And I think it's so important for us to consider the piece of engagement and recognition. We are all, a lot of us, I can't say all, but a lot of us are trained to be aware of assessing and just observing circumstances. And that whole idea of sometimes it's not being a fit, while it's not something you can ascribe to a situation of commuting challenges or you know, mental health issues, it's accepting that that person may not just be in the best group, and maybe we need to try to get this person to come back in a different setting with a group that will be more effective, because we want them to get out of the group what they're coming for. So if it's not a fit, to force it, like Dolores said, for the numbers' sake, is really doing a disservice to that individual and to yourself, because they won't be able to receive what they need. And then also the respect of that person. We are dealing with individuals who are adults and who may be able to tell you what works for them or what doesn't at that time. So being able to respect those differences and acknowledging them will be a big part of kind of understanding the whole process of retention. Ultimately, we're trying to build a relationship. Once the group members, we've recruited and we've brought them into the room, now the journey of starting a relationship with them is crucial, because that relationship may help determine if that person will continue to come back week after week, versus if you remain a stranger who recruited them and did an intake and they don't feel like they connect, that is sufficient and a big reason for them to say, I'm not going to continue. Wouldn't you say, Dolores?
I agree 100%. So, okay, so what can we do? Share from personal and professional experiences with the facilitator. So we can share with each other our professional and personal experiences, and we can also share with our group members if that is the way your curriculum is geared out and laid out. Transparency is important, because then group members begin to trust you a little bit more than what they did before they met you or heard about you. Sharing the most recent facilitation experience and how it affects the group. This is really, really powerful, because if you share with other facilitators or in your supervision groups or supervision or post-supervision, you will be able to identify what is your strength and what is not your strength. What was that strength in the group for you as a person, as an individual, as a group leader, facilitator, a therapist, whatever your role is in that particular group, and how it has affected your group members. It's important to acknowledge and identify your own struggles in the group, and to find at least one solution for your experiences. It's always wise to ask the group members, how are you doing? This can prevent impersonal detachment and distant behavior for you as a group leader. As group members, continue to ask them periodically, every 3 sessions or every 2 sessions, how you are doing. And I am being repetitive with that question, because it's a plus in personal growth as a facilitator. Check in with your clients. Let them know that you are concerned about their individual well-being. Be respectful. That's top-notch. Be respectful. Compliment their strengths. Compliment the times that they have attended group, and let them know that they are well missed in the group, not just by you, but by other group members. Claim your thoughts and your emotional reactions. Group members are very, very knowledgeable and love to focus on the facilitator. They don't always tell you, but they will if you ask. And they will give you positive input as well as some of the barriers that they see in you. Be open-minded for feedback. Huge plus. We want them to be open-minded for our feedback. We need to be open-minded for theirs. That is another way to retain group retention.
Yeah. And I guess if I just want to continue along the lines of what you're saying, Dolores, I feel like what I'm hearing you say is we need to capitalize on the resources that are already available to us, which is one, our peers who can maybe give us insight on what we can try to do differently, because each participant that comes into the room is a unique person and may have different variables of situations affecting their ability to continue. So tapping into your coworkers who may have experienced something similar to help you get a sense of how to address it, it's about not reinventing the wheel.
In addition to that, what Andrell is mentioning, not reinventing the wheel, we as facilitators are human too.
Yeah.
And we are affected by our group members' response and reactions to whatever the subject or topic they are talking about. Mm-hmm. The other plus to that is, and it's very knowledgeable, is if you are running a group and there are two co-leaders in the group and one co-leader calls out, well, things happen in life, is sick, the group may start to perform in a different way, which can be very effective or ineffective to the group leader running that group at that time. It's imperative to talk to your supervisor so that you can become the best group leader you are supposed to be.
Yeah, thank you. So now if we start talking strategy, Dolores, one of the main strategies that I keep thinking about is acknowledging or recognizing the stages of change.
Yes.
I think as therapists, we both do therapy, we're very aware of that. When people come into the room to do therapy, where are they in terms of doing the work they are coming in to do? And I think the same applies in a group session.
Yes.
Same applies at Parenting Journey. So basically assess the person's readiness to change and assign them to a pre-contemplator or another group whose members are at a similar stage of readiness. So the different stages of change are pre-contemplation, then we move into contemplation, then we start preparing to do the changes,
preparation,
then we actually do the work, and then we start maintenance. And I mean, I think we can a lot of times look at that and think of working out. I think this is used a lot of times for workout models. Are you in the stage of really thinking of doing the work? Then when you start becoming concrete in it, then you start doing research of what you need to do the workout, and then you actually buy the gear, and then you do it, and then you maintain it. Yes. So in the group setting, the same thing is happening. We have people who may be contemplating the whole idea of needing to address parenting issues or personal issues, and knowing where they fall will help you understand that person's basically commitment, engagement, and maybe likelihood of staying or falling off, wouldn't you say?
Yes. In addition to that, you may have someone who is in contemplation, joins the group, you've completed the intake, you are now running the group, they are high gear in preparation and have been taking action. Stay aware, be aware, don't use assumptions, check in with each person, especially someone in that particular area, because sometimes those people fall off for unexpected situations that can be happening in their own personal life. And it's not that they don't want to attend the group, there has been a barrier that has been created in their own personal life.
Now, this isn't something that is in the slides, so Doris, I feel like we have to mention it. You mentioned earlier that as facilitators, we are human. So, and you know, I would hope everybody running the curriculum is human. I think the importance of acknowledging your feelings as an individual to what's happening. I think sometimes as a facilitator, we take on the responsibility of somebody who decides to fall off and not go on. And we think, it must have been me, I did something bad, you know, and I think the idea or the importance of being able to remain objective and pulling away, acknowledging that it affects you and you feel kind of bad that you weren't able to keep that person engaged is important, because now you can at least, you know, own that for yourself. But now you pull back and you start assessing, okay, well, what was happening in that person's life? We did an intake. The intake informs us, right, about that person and what's going on. And then we can kind of say, was that person in pre-contemplation and maybe it was too much and they made that decision, or maybe it's simply the matter of life happened and it just couldn't work at this particular time. So I think the importance of kind of separating what is yours as a facilitator and what is actually going on, right?
Yes, learn to not personalize the group retention.
Yes.
Take it as it is and continue to move forward with retaining the group members that you do have. Sometimes someone who seems to have fallen off from your group may miss one or two groups, but with the support that you give that particular person and being as authentic as possible and real and honest, the person may return to the group, which is a plus towards group retention.
Absolutely.
Identify and address any barriers affecting attendance. Try to be as proactive to identifying and addressing the barriers. Make phone calls. Make sure that child care is well taken care of. Lack of reliable transportation is huge, especially in the area where we run our parenting journey in Somerville because of the way that the bus schedules are. This is important to check in with clients and help them, coach them along around the time barriers of when the transportation, the buses are running, so that they can get their buses on time and also schedule reliable time to have their children ready to get on that bus as well. Conflicting work hours, that's a huge one also. So if your group allows for someone to be 15 to 20 minutes late, and you already know that this person is getting off work at, say, 5 o'clock, the group starts at 5:30, that person may not reach your group until 5:45. So it's your choice to decide whether or not this is going to be a conflict to your group retention. Lack of child care. Some people start the program and have child care. If you don't have it at your own agency, they have people who come in and babysit for them, and the babysitter may decide that she or he has to go to school and can no longer babysit. Protest by a spouse or significant other to treatment, major domestic violence and control issues. Check in with your clients as much as you can to find out what's going on. Look for signs, for marks on that person's face or on her arms or his arms. Listen to the words that this person speaks and try to understand and identify what is going on in this person's life. Safety concerns, fear of violence from a domestic partner. If someone has a restraining order, please be mindful to get a copy of that restraining order so that you have it on record so that that person does not come to your agency looking for this particular person. Make sure that you know where your 911 information is located via near your group room or somewhere within distant arm's reach so that you can make the phone call as soon as possible. Make sure that everybody is safe in your group and leaves the group safely. People will trust you more and they know that you care.
You know, I think it's the idea of like this is a lot of information to wonder how am I going to get all this information about all 12 or 15 participants in the room. These are things that come up during the intake. I think being able to have those conversations of where do you live, how long would it take for you to get in, and how would that happen for you. You're looking at seeing these possible barriers so you can start problem solving them even before the group starts, because the reality of the situation is there regardless of when the process begins. So I think keeping those in mind as you're doing the intakes so you can either start problem solving or considering alternatives if it really seems to be too much of a barrier for them to overcome to really be able to attend groups. Yeah. Another strategy is to try to assign your group members to be within a setting that is or level of psychological functioning. Now, the beauty of having a group is having a variety of people. That's the beauty of a group. I can learn from group members.
Yes.
Now, there are certain circumstances that maybe you want to try to make the group a little more alike, and that maybe is seen in our parenting journey for fathers.
Yes.
Or parenting journey, the sober parenting journey. Now, we still have a variety of people in the room, but we're trying to bring a group of people who will maybe feel more connected and really avoid that barrier of feeling disengaged or distanced because of the different participants. So the idea of trying to create a group that will really bring a group of people together because of the similarities despite the differences is a great strategy as well.
It is, very much. Course of action, form a working and professional relationship with your client. Be empathetic. History. Some clients come in to do an intake or start to share from their personal experience, but will not give you a complete history. Sometimes it can be impossible to get a complete history, but try to get as much information as you can to understand what's going on in that client's life so that you are a better facilitator at helping that client and other clients to sustain from whatever issues they're going through and to be more present for the group. Retention is a plus. Has this participant dropped out of treatment in the past? If yes, why? This is major in doing the intakes here at Parenting Journey. Sometimes we get people who come through 2, 3, 4 times, but drop off in certain sessions, maybe at a session 7 or 5 or 8. And it's a consistent area for them. So know that and make a decision whether or not this person is a fit for that particular group. And also it's good because it gives you more detail and information as when to start really, really being a little bit more a plus to your proactiveness within the group. Has there ever been a successful experience in the past? This is major. I mentioned it before. Compliment the strength and also compliment the person for being so successful at participating in the group and participating in the lives of with their families and with other people. What has helped to make it successful? Reflect. Look at your numbers. And I don't mean numbers as far as, oh, well, it costs this much to attend the group. Look at the numbers of how many people are staying and how many people enjoy being in your company, enjoy being with other group members. The fit is just excellent. It's almost perfect. So make sure that you can find successful points to bring within the group and also to give yourself a pat on the back. Use motivational interviewing when you're doing your phone calls or trying to connect with group members to maintain your group retention.
We'll also use the group to engage or re-engage a group member. So sometimes somebody who may have fallen off for whatever reason, we try to get the group to get involved and send them a card. Or, you know, kind of addressing that. I loved how you said that, Dolores, letting them know that they are missed when they don't come to the group. So it really helps the participant feel like part of something as opposed to somebody just coming to a program. Yeah. And so using the group and using that group dynamic to your advantage, maybe increasing the frequency of contact during the beginning stages of the group. So maybe somebody needs more than one call a week because maybe they're going through things, and just that check-in, that support may kind of have them building more of a bond with you, which will in turn allow them to kind of stay on a bit longer. Or even using the network of interventions. So some individuals may have group or support systems that are trying to encourage them to do this program, and maybe collaborating with these networks to help encourage getting that message to that person of the value of coming so that they can maybe continue or stay on board. And basically, really and truly, guys, you may not want to hear it, but you can't give up.
Never give up.
You know, Dolores said it well in that somebody may miss 2 weeks and then may reappear. So I think sometimes we may want to believe that, okay, well, the person fell off or the criteria for graduation will not be met, so they just won't continue. They will maybe still get something out of the last few weeks.
Oh, yes, yes.
So having them push through, even if it was with some gaps, completing what they started, maybe what it was all about for that person to do the group.
Some people who come through groups, especially people who are referred by child welfare systems, or the court, or other intervention programs, may not feel cared for or loved or appreciated. So with our strength, we can help that person to feel that way. Some people come into the group and they have high energy, they're motivated, they're in that maintenance, contemplation, maintenance stages of change. But you call 5 of your members who you know are having somewhat of a struggle or just need more of your attention, they share this with other group members, and then that person who has all this energy and strength says to you, you didn't call me.
Mm-hmm.
And that person needs your guidance, your assistance, and your care and your support as well.
Yeah.
So be mindful of everyone in the group and mindful that they each have a personality and they each need us to help them to make it through their journey.
Yeah. So the question, Dolores, is when do we start this whole process of retention? Because it was a process for the recruitment. Now we got to consider retention, and when does it happen? Well, John F. Kennedy has a quote that says, the time to repair the roof is when the sun is shining. So the time to work on retention is when everybody's in the room. We don't wait for people to start falling off. We don't wait for them to disappear on us to start trying to reach out to them. Because if the relationship wasn't built, if we haven't engaged with them, why are they going to pick up the phone when we call them? Why are they going to, they're just going to maybe tell us what they think we want to hear, but they won't have this investment because it wouldn't have been a reciprocal relationship.
Right.
So you start fixing the roof even before it starts raining.
That's right.
Right?
And as to add in with that, another quote is that the early bird catches the worm.
Yes.
Start working on retention early.
Yes. Yes.
Early so that you can maintain your group retention. Group members really do love their group leaders. And I'd like to hear more about that from others.
And it's funny that you mentioned that. I just want to add that we will do intakes, and sometimes intakes will happen weeks before a group starts. It's just as important from there, even before the group started, that we're trying to work on retention.
Oh, yes,
Right?
yes.
We said you came in, thank you for taking all that time for us to do the intake. We're going to check in with you and let you know how things are progressing and making sure that you're still going to be on board when it comes, because it's that time lapse. It gets cold, and you want to keep it warm.
Yes,
that's when people will disappear on you, right?
That's right.
So basically, we just talked about this before getting to the slide. So it starts from day one. Day one at the very beginning, at intake, even before the group has started. So you've attracted people, and now the next step immediately after attraction is retaining. Once you've retained them, you can develop and review if necessary. But you see right there in that graph or in that image that once attraction has been created, the next step is immediately retention.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Coming together is a beginning, keeping together is progress, and working together is success. Henry Ford. And I would like to, are we ready to open?
Yep.
Open this up so that we can be supportive to you and answer any questions, and also that will be a great support to us as well.
So, Andrell and Dolores, this is Lee again, and I want to invite all of our audience members who are listening to type in any questions you might have. We'd love to have a conversation with you about the content that we've covered today. So just a reminder, to access the question box, you'll need to open the GoToMeeting panel over on the right-hand side of your screen. There's an orange button with the white arrow. You might need to click that to get to it. Then look for the area called Questions. Click on that plus sign if you need to. And I will be watching. We don't have any questions right now, but I am pretty sure that there must be some. So we will, we'll watch for a minute or so and see what we've got. Okay. I'm waiting. I'm not seeing questions.
Meanwhile, can I just ask Dolores? Dolores is a very seasoned and experienced facilitator. Can I ask you, Dolores, how many, in terms of retention, sometimes we as facilitators will feel our success is based on how many people stayed in the room. What would you say is the average number of people who may fall off when you do run a group? So we can kind of not feel like basically the group was a failure because we lost 2 or 3 people. Kind of help. What would you say is that number that people can look to kind of gauge?
I would say the number is about 3.
Okay, 3 out of how many?
3 out of, say, 15 or 16.
Okay.
And if you have less, it could be 2 to 3. Mm-hmm. And it all depends on the situation going on in that person's life. And as I mentioned earlier, you don't always know as a facilitator what is happening in that person's life because each day is different. And the person may not have had any idea or awareness that something would pop up that would keep that person from attending the group.
Yeah.
I'm also running a group called the Parenting Journey 2, which has a different focus, and the focus is geared towards identifying the challenges and focusing on problem solving and reflection on goals and such more, and I'll tell you more about that later. But I have a group of 9 people, and because I believe the weather, and I could be wrong, a few people did not show up. One person showed up who had missed the group 3 sessions, and when she showed up, you could really, really feel the difference in the group, even though we've all accepted her in the group, the difference in the group that she is not at the same level that other group members are. Mm-hmm. One of the girls that called out to cancel with the group, and this is a way of holding retention, is that she said her daughter was sick. So I made a phone call this morning, and I left her a really clear, supportive message for her and both her daughters, mm-hmm. and letting her know that I am concerned and hopeful that everything will be okay, and I look forward to seeing you next week.
Yeah, yeah.
So retention, it plays a good hand. The men's group that we have 100% retention. That's really a plus. So it all varies, yeah.
Supporting the idea of creating a group where people will feel more similar.
Yes.
So having the men's group probably invites them to feel like, oh yeah.
And they have similar problems. So that's a connection within itself.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I mean, I think ultimately the big thing with groups or facilitating is that there's work involved both inside the room and outside. You're holding the group in the session as you're going through the curriculum, but you continue to hold them even while you're outside of that session, making sure they will come back next week to continue the work. Because, Parenting Journey curriculum it goes through a process. You're digging into your past, and it could be a bit touchy and hard for some people to look at. That in itself is as much a reason for people to say, I'm not going to come back next week because I opened up a can of worms that I'm not ready to handle, and I don't want to go back there and continue digging through that pile. So you may have people who are dealing with those issues along with other factors.
Well, in addition to dealing with those issues and other factors, it's good to always have what they call a container to be able to contain the emotions and bring something in either via meditation or grounding techniques to help that person and that all the group members as much as possible. Some people cannot meditate, so use other similar things, as I mentioned, grounding techniques. Also laughter, and also I'm an expressive therapist as well, so maybe some dance moves or something, but people enjoy fun as well. So when the pain is deep, it's always good to take a look at what could be fun or what could be a little slightly different that would change your mood, especially knowing that you are going to be leaving the group and going back home or to your residential program or some other program. This is imperative, once again, because people trust you. They begin to know that you are human, that you're real, and that you're not punitive or tight with running the group. People really enjoy being in the group when you're more down to earth, especially if you know more about their culture.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And this is Lee. I'm going to jump in here because we've got some great questions that really dovetail into what you've been talking about.
Awesome.
Great. So we have one participant today who just wanted to make a comment, and then I've got a question for you after that. But she just says she works mostly with mandated clients, and there's some resistance when the group starts. And she's found that this speaks to your comments about trust and that you're human, that she's found that when she assures the confidentiality of the group, that it really does help to retain the group, and that also just asking the question for how they're doing makes them seem important to the facilitator and proves genuine interest.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we had a question about getting back to those absences, and you touched on that a little bit. How many absences are participants allowed in order to complete successfully?
So if a parent is attending the Parenting Journey 1 group, they're allowed to miss 2 sessions, 2 to 3.
I think it's 2 for graduation.
And 3 for a certificate of participation.
So, but let's clarify this. Somebody who may have missed more than those numbers, we will still welcome them back if they're coming in, just with, informing them that they may not get a graduation certificate, but they're more than welcome to continue the group process if a good relationship was formed already and, the group members know them. So that wouldn't be a reason why we would say you can't come, but it just speaks to the graduation or the certificate of participation for those who may need it.
As I mentioned, that someone missed 3 groups in the Parenting Journey 2, but when that person showed up, you could feel the difference in the group, but we all still welcomed her. She will not get a completion certificate. She will not get a graduation certificate, but she will get the participation. If she misses another session, she will be acknowledged in the graduation without the certificate.
Okay.
Now, Lee, can I just also mention, I don't want us to come across as seeming punitive in that, oh, you missed this number and so you won't get this. Those are just speaking to protocols or, what we have in place for certain situations. I think as a group facilitator, if you have a working relationship with that individual, understanding why the absences are happening may help kind of give you a sense of what direction to take that conversation with the individual in question. I think it's really just important to not focus so much on the graduation piece, because like I said earlier, sometimes it's about having started and reaching to the last session. Even if there were gaps in between, that is a success for that individual. They can always come back and do the group again, but that retention piece of having them see it through despite what they missed out is maybe just what that individual needs.
And in addition to that, you can mention, with Parenting Journey, we mentioned which session you missed and the importance of that session and how it reflects to your parenting style and how it reflects to your relationships with others. Sometimes we get a message from the person when they don't show up, and if we don't touch base with that person, we're going to assume what the message would be. But touching base with that person will give us an idea of what's going on. You can also let the person know this is what you missed, this is what we've done in the group, and you don't mention names because of the confidentiality, but you mention that, we miss you and we really want you to come back to the group. So it's a plus, and when you use a tone of voice that lets that person know that you care and appreciate and respect everything about that person, sometimes these people do show back up.
Mm-hmm. That's great, because my next question was submitted, and it's about what ideas you might have for reaching out to a member who fails to answer the telephone from facilitators or their case planner and may even have stopped visiting their child.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So when people, we have a lot of this right now. This has been an ongoing issue, but I just figured out a different strategy that's been working pretty well. Some people change their phone number or they move, but a lot of the changing of the phone number for various reasons. So what I do is I have a check-in paper that has their name on it, the old number, and then I ask them to check off for the new numbers. Now, if somebody is familiar with someone else in the group and is supportive with other group members, that person might say, oh, Jane Doe changed her number, this is the number. The other part of that is that it always keeps us intact and up top with what's going on with the group members. So then when someone doesn't answer the phone who's been missing from the group, a nice little letter, something, small, straightforward. We missed you at the group. Hope everything is going well for you. Please give me a call. Or you've changed your number. I'm unable to contact you. Please send me your number, and I look forward to seeing you in the group. Sometimes you don't leave an open space for someone to make the decision because you're helping them to make the decision right there. And also emails have been really good and really good at contacting other people and also contacting their emergency contact numbers.
And I would also want to add that this is where, when you've done all you can, you have to recognize when it is outside of your hands and when it is that person's ultimate choice in terms of what they're doing. So the scene that you're painting, somebody who is, not attending, not responding to not just you, but other providers, and also has distanced themselves from their child, then you have to start looking at the bigger picture and questioning, okay, in the stages of change, where is this person at, and how do I continue to show support, but also acknowledge that they may not yet be ready. I think recognizing that fine line, and here's the thing, in that process of kind of acknowledging where they may be at, you always leave a window open, because you never know if something will happen that will shift them from pre-contemplation into contemplation, and therefore ready to now come back into the group. So there's always a window of opening left available for that person, and that's why I take that stance of you may have missed a number of groups, but something may have happened that makes you now say, you know what, I got to take this serious and I'm going to come back. And I want to make sure that there's an opening for you. But recognizing when you've done your part and when it's really in that person's camp as well to respond.
And I just want to add, so it would be nice to have clarity as to what the person is talking about around distance from the child, because sometimes people are distant from the child and they're doing visits with the Department of Children and Families, and we would only know that if Department of Children and Families mentions that to us. But if a person is talking about it in the group and talking about distancing from their child, there may be some dysregulation emotionally, some attachment or detachment issues going on. The person can be a recovering substance abuse user, maybe have been on heroin or something and was on some methadone maintenance at the moment or the time, and doesn't really know how to be close to the parent, to the child. The other thing that I've noticed in parenting journey, especially when we get deeper into the sessions, is that some of the parents that come through the journey were not comforted or cared for in a way that let them feel as though they were close to their mom. I say that one of the stages in being close to your child is to be able to hold your child as soon as the child is born, if possible.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. We've got just a couple more questions here that, if we have time, I'd like to ask.
Okay.
Okay. One is, how far in advance would you suggest completing intake, and is there an intake form that you have found useful in engaging clients?
Okay, so we've done a revision on the intake form, and I find that the one that particularly that we use now has questions on it around the type of medications, or if you are recovering from substance abuse, it will ask you the dosage of your medications and the dosage of your methadone maintenance or Suboxone maintenance or whatever type of meds you're on. The other part of it is that it asks detailed questions about your relationship with your parent. Who took care of you? Where were you born? You know, what traumas have you been through in life? And as a facilitator and a person, I am a mental health clinician as well, it's a little easier to talk with people and really be empathetic with them and walk them through the intake as if you were going through the journey or through your particular curriculum. And also letting them know what is expected of them. So that's in the intake as well. And being aware of whether or not this person can read or write. So we give them the intake to fill out the beginning parts, and that will show us whether or not that person can read or write. And some people can read but cannot write, or really do not understand certain words within the intake. But the intake process is really, really powerful and really good. I believe in it, and I believe that it helps the facilitator to understand and know more about what's going on with that client. Here at Parenting Journey, we do ongoing intakes, and we also pretty much know when our next groups are going to start. Sometimes it slows up when we start the group, it could slow up about a month after the group has started for at least a couple of months, and then it picks back up. Also, word of mouth and putting your information out to the public and to DCF and other programs, they will know when your groups are starting and definitely send their referrals in. but I highly believe in ongoing intakes, but it would all depend on what your organization is asking for.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I know you have some other information to cover, so I'll make this the last question. It says, do you think a group can be effective if facilitated by one person?
I think so. It depends, I guess, on the numbers of participants in the group. If you have a large group of 12, 15 people, I don't know that it would work with one person. You absolutely would probably need to have, not probably, you would need to have a second facilitator. With the nature of what is being discussed and the work that you will have to do as well, you would definitely need to have a second facilitator. But if it is a smaller group of, I'd say up to about 7 or 8 participants, one facilitator can do that.
It all depends if the facilitator is knowledgeable about the particular curriculum that facilitator is presenting, and also has knowledge of the content and how to deal with psychosocial or psychodynamic therapeutic issues within the group. Sometimes facilitators do not have that particular expertise but are good at facilitating groups, and it can cause a barrier in group cohesion, which is another area that may interfere in group retention. The other thing that we've noticed here at Parenting Journey, it's always good to have 2 group leaders. One can sit at one end of the table and the other at the other, and you can see what's really going on within your group, and then someone can pick out things that maybe another facilitator's eyes did not see. Yeah. So I think it's honestly a plus. I have run groups solo, but I've also run them with other facilitators, and each and every facilitator has a different dynamic, a different way of facilitating. So that's another area to get familiar with, because as I mentioned earlier in the webinar, you are transparent to your group members and they see what's going on. So the wise decision, I would say, from a Parenting Journey perspective, is to facilitate with another facilitator.
Okay.
Any questions? Any?
No, that's it for questions. I am going to turn it back over to you now so that you can continue on with other information you have to share.
Okay.
Thank you, Lynn.
All right. So hello, everyone. This is Dolores again, and I have some really exciting news for you. I'm really, really pumped up and energetic and enthusiastic about the Parenting Journey 2. We will be running a Parenting Journey 2 training here at 366 Somerville Ave in Somerville. It's a step up from Parenting Journey 1. We look at perspectives, trust, promises, goal setting. We learn how to prevent abandoning the focus that we have for our lives and for our children's lives. We learn to deal with success and accept our past success so that we can be successful in the present. Our future will dictate how we deal with our children. This is an awesome program, and the training starts February 22nd, February 22nd, and ends February 26th. I am looking forward to everyone signing up to attend. We really, really can give you an extra lead in facilitating with your group members, and that lead can also help those group members to want to move forward in their lives after they complete a Parenting Journey 1.
Mm-hmm. I think we hear very often people have completed Parenting Journey 1 and want what's next. Well, Parenting Journey 2 is that thing. It's that opportunity to look in the here and now and explore what other things that are preventing you from getting where you want to get to. So when we ended Parenting Journey 1 in the choices and making new choices and trying to implement those things, Parenting Journey holds your hand as you continue that journey of trying to make those concrete changes. It's amazing.
It's very similar to going to school for an associate's degree. You obtain that degree and then you move on for your bachelor's. Mm-hmm. Or you go to school for your bachelor's degree and you move forward for your master's. That's what Parenting Journey 2 is about. It's mastering your way of reaching your goals. Mm-hmm. And it is really, really a dynamic and terrific program.
Yeah. So that's February 22nd to the 26th. And what we also have coming up is January 25th through the 29th. we have the Parenting in America curriculum also being offered here at 366 Somerville Ave. And this curriculum is one that addresses the challenges of someone parenting in a new culture. So we're looking at the Latino population predominantly. It is the Latino curriculum that helps make the adjustment as they transition into a new world that has different views on what parenting looks like. And yet at the same time we want to support individuals of feeling like they can maintain their culture and their sense of identity, which is closely tied to where they're originally from. So how do we merge both of those? How do we help you maintain what is a true essence of who you are in terms of your culture, but be able to adjust into a new world that you find yourself that has different beliefs and different expectations with what parenting looks like. So that's what Parenting in America allows you to do. It's a 12-week curriculum, but we're going to give it to you in 5 weeks as we always do, and we're going to 5 days, sorry, and we're just going to blow your mind in terms of understanding that dynamic. So sometimes we've had parents or facilitators come to us saying that they were trying to figure out how to give Parenting Journey 1 to people with different cultures. Parenting in America will do that. So we are offering it here for the very first time, January 25th through the 29th, and we are looking forward to seeing you come in droves for this awesome curriculum.
And if you would like more information, you can check the Parenting Journey website, or you can call us at 617-628-8815. We really, really would like to share this enthusiastic, excited, I'm very excited about Parenting Journey 2. But we'd love to share it with you so you can give back to your community.
Beautiful. So I don't know how much time we have, Lee. We had to plug it in because it's something we had to share with everyone online.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, it looks like we've got a couple minutes left. If you have anything else you want to share with the audience before we go, I'll just let you go ahead and make your closing comments.
So I want to, first of all, just thank everyone for showing up and being a part of the webinar. It's something that is very important to us here at Parenting Journey to be able to continue to give you the support as you go out there giving this curriculum. We really want everybody who comes through these doors or gets trained by us to know that they are not alone. We don't just give you a book. We don't give you an amazing experience and say, off, be gone, and figure it out. We are here. So these webinars are meant to give you that support. But if there's something outside of that, you can always reach us here for support, myself and Andrell Jean-Charles. Same number, extension 248, or this amazing facilitator by my side here, Dolores, who's just really amazing at giving insight on different things that may be happening in your groups. So please don't hesitate to call if you do have those questions. And once again, thank you for giving us your time and participating in the webinar.
And I just want to say thank you also for your participation in empowering others in the community. You're doing a great work and a great service to all individuals, parents and their children and others. So I just want to say, stay proud of yourself because I'm very proud of you.
Yeah. And continue to take care of yourselves in the process.
Well, thank you both so much. This has been great. We will get the replay over right away so that can be shared as requested. And we thank all of you for listening, and we'll conclude our webinar. Goodbye.
Bye. Thank you, Lee.
Thank you,
My
Lee.
pleasure. You're welcome.